God is so good. Amen? Amen. My name is Jacques. I'm originally from California, and my husband and I, we came to Chattanooga 2018, right? Why am I here at Hamilton Community Church? It's because I was sitting right there on that second row, and somebody, after the service, after the sermon, came up, and we had the lights on. He came up, and they were like, "Hi, what's your name?" "Savannah." "Nice to meet you, Savannah." Well, that was Dawn at that time, and I wasn't as young as you, but my husband and I were right there, and we connected. Friends, do I have permission, and with just a yes or a no, you can say no, no problem. Do I have your permission to take a risky move today? Some of you are like, "I don't know what you mean by risky." It's like, can I go non-traditional? Can I not do a sermon today? Is that okay with you? Can I have a conversation? Are you open to that? I'm definitely somebody who likes to have a connection, as you can see. I like to be down here. But then again, I think you are totally capable of this. All right? I'm highly interactive, and that is what God has just put that love language in me. So I need your help. Will you all just stand with me? It's not going to be super crazy. Just stand with me. And there are people on your aisle. There are people probably not on your aisle. I would like for you to actually literally get into these aisles right here. Are you open to that? Please just move to the side. I'm serious. Just move into these aisles right here. These ones right here. Just move on the side. I know you're in the back and I see you. Guys, can you just move into the aisles here? Just scooch on down, move into the aisles over here. I appreciate you. Guys, I see you over there. Can you come into the aisles? The purpose of this is because I want to connect with you. I know we're going to be in a kind of uncomfortable, non-traditional sense, but be in the aisles. Come forward, please. Come forward, because I truly do not like the screens. Yes, that's fine, that's fine. Come closer, and literally, can you just fill the front seats? Fill the fronts, please. Come. Thank you so much. I'll give you that time. Come and see and greet somebody. Thank you, guys. Just come on, funnel in forward. Say hi to people, because this is important. Hi. Hi. Come on and funnel in forward. I know you guys are kind of in the back. I'm just going to sit down again. Thank you. So just moving on forward. Come. Everybody in the aisle, just move into that next row. Excellent. This is good stuff right here. Move into the aisles, friend. Right there. Right in the front. There you go, Brett. I know you just came in right there. Come in and fight. Guys, come into the aisles. Come into now seats. I said aisle. Go into the seats now. Go into the seats. Oh, you guys are in there, but please just come on forward. I see you, pretty lady. I see you, handsome man. And there is a purpose for this, because it's at the very end. And I appreciate the interaction. You know why? Because there are angels that need to be taking those seats, but the people need the conversation. The angels have already proven that God is good. But the people need to come closer. I appreciate that. How many of you thought that was very uncomfortable? Thank you for being honest. I see you, and I recognize that. I appreciate it. But this is a part of the healing process. God and I are partnering today. And there are traditional senses where I just need to get out of the way and God does it. No, He actually calls each and every one of us to partner with Him. And so I pray that today is just a moment it's not going to change your life like instantaneously. It's not your circumstances when you leave this building is not going to change instantly. Your healing is a process. Your healing is going to take time. But what are you going to do to utilize that time? What are you doing to seek better perspective? What are you doing to get outside your comfort zone? Because that is where you grow. What are you doing to recognize the patterns in your life? Are we using our God-given mind to say, I can discern this situation and I can make a healthy choice? What are we doing to train our thoughts and our mind and our tongue to speak life All of that to say this. The topic tonight, it's night somewhere. It's nighttime in the Philippines, I bet. I'm Filipino. So good. Hello to those who are in the Philippines online, everyone watching. Hello, Mom. Hi, Dad. Hi, sister. Hi, brother, whoever you are. If I don't know you, come and have a chat with me. The topic is called The Healing of the People Pleaser. And may I be totally vulnerable with you? This is a back and forth conversation. Yes. Thank you. At least one person. Yes. The healing of the people pleaser. A people pleaser. 2022, there was a YouGov's poll done by 1,000 Americans, and 50%, they were all asked the question, like, are you a people pleaser? 50% of them said, no, I'm not. 25 of that other 50% said, yeah, I have that tendency to be a people pleaser in a negative connotation. And we'll get to the definition about that. But the other 25 was like, yeah, I am. And I'm uncomfortable by being such. I don't like that aspect and the habits that I've built. 2022, you would have asked me that question, I would poll myself and saying, no, I'm not a people pleaser. No. Thank you so much. I mean, if you prefer, I am. Like, The last couple of months, God has really been opening emotional breakthroughs for me. And only until recently, because of circumstance and because I was intolerant of my situation, I was like, I am fed up of feeling a doormat, feeling like my needs are not prioritized. A people pleaser, on the first level, is putting other people's needs before your own excessively. And the deeper layer of that is I have difficulty of saying no due to fear of conflict, fear of rejection, fear of isolation, fear of loss, abandonment. And I want to make sure that they're comfortable before I'm trying to force a peace. And be like, okay. Because I feel like I'm a helper, I'm altruistic. And those are all great things that God has already called us to be, but there is a foundation, and that's what we're going to talk about, that has been rattled, where that fear is just, it's been undiagnosed, it's been undetected for the last couple of decades. I did not realize that there was a part of my heart that was crying out, saying, I'm stuck, I'm frustrated, I have a lot of good things happening in my life, I don't have clarity about who I am. I know whose I am, but I don't know who I am because I'm taking care of everyone else's needs before mine. I don't know where I'm going. I'm not usually scared. People speaking, jumping off of X, Y, and Z, the normal fears, dogs, cats, whatever. I'm okay with that. But there was a fear, and particularly this is what rocked me. Haley, if you ask me this question, what do you want, Dawn? I have a physical trigger, mental block. I've asked myself that question, Haley, and I could not for the life of me realize why I couldn't answer that question. I had a hard time doing that. And I didn't know why. And God helped me understand that there was a foundation, there was something that I developed as a kid that just rocked my foundation and just permeated the rest of my life. I'm gonna tell you a story. A man was going through Africa and he saw these magnificent elephants. They were quote unquote in that captivity, but they had no gates, no locks, no chains. They had on the right foot a rope. And he's like, and it's not tied to anything. He's like, why don't these elephants go and run away into the wild? Trainer says, oh, because when they're really small, they tie onto a stake a rope just enough for the young elephant, to not run away. And try as they might, they try and tug and they can't run away. So as they age, they develop a thought that they cannot break free. And they just have this rope, and they feel like, even as a ginormous elephant, beautiful to walk on, huge and mightier than anything else, they can't break free from that thought, that habit that they were tied to when they were younger. And that's what I was dealing with. And that was learned fears. And if I could be vulnerable, these fears have stayed with me for a long time. I've overcome many of them, but they were still underlying, and I didn't diagnose them. I didn't know where they were there. I was transparently not trusting God. The supporting verse is Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. If you know it, say it with me. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make your paths straight. That word, trust, I didn't know that I wasn't trusting God with my whole heart. And the word heart in the original Hebrew is lib. But that doesn't mean just the physiological aspect of a heart. I've memorized this verse, but I didn't understand it. I didn't prove it yet. The word heart also encompasses your mind, your will, your desires, your needs, your seat of reasoning, your willpower, even your past. And there were parts of my past that I felt like weren't valuable enough to bring to the surface. I knew I was made for something great, but I just didn't know how to get there. It's because there were parts of my fears that I did not know, and the enemy wants to keep them covered and undiagnosed and unattended to. Fear of rejection, fear of being misunderstood. I'm listening. These are the things that I've been dealing with. Fear of silence, fear of abandonment, fear of isolation, fear of being lonely, being the list goes on. It could probably, if the list were made into paper, it probably is as way as a small elephant. Trust God with my past. There was a part of me living in Christianity feeling like God He loves me, this I know, for the Bible tells me so, but I have not proved it. Because I felt like if I think about myself, that's selfish. If I think about my needs and my wants, that's innately a sin. And that was my thought process. That was what I dealt with. That was my framework. That was the input that was placed into my life. That was the framework, and it affected 3 areas of my life. Relationships. You know the verse that says, love the Lord with all your heart, your mind, and soul, and your neighbor as yourself. I didn't realize that that meant that neighbors and myself, I needed to love them equally. I thought that neighbors and other people, I needed to prioritize them first. Collegiates, those who are in your college, can I see where you're at? Or you're thinking about college, where are you at? You think about college? That's awesome. Hi. With your decisions, who framed your perspective? Who was that input? I don't know who it was. I don't know what inspired you to take a major or whether we were decided. But maybe it was, I felt the responsibility as a firstborn to have higher education. I better be an example for my sisters and my brothers. I felt the pressure from my family. It's like, oh, you're going to college, right? As a 17-year-old, I'm like, I don't even know what I want for breakfast. How can I even think about what my future is? And I knocked on other doors in terms of majors, and they never came into fruition because I hadn't built an understanding of what I actually wanted. I was well-fed. I had a roof over my head. I had my needs taken care of. And I felt like my input was that my parents, as wonderful as they are, that they were the ones who were going to think for me for the rest of my life, especially in these major decisions. Oh, you should marry that person. Oh, you should go to this college. Oh, you should do this. You should do that. I'm like, oh, okay, I trust you. Erik Erikson has the fundamental layers of development. And at the very bottom, at the very core, at the very start, from ages 0 to 3, you either are going to fill the needs of the child and you are going to earn trust. Or, if you don't fill the needs of the child, you create distrust. And whether that child's needs are met, it's going to permeate the rest of their lives on whether people are trustworthy or distrusting. 0 to 3. From 4 to 6, the next layer in the Erik Erikson's theory is you are building autonomy, self-thinking, and exploring, taking risks, making decisions, autonomy. Or you can build shame and doubt. Don't do that. No. Don't go there. Don't go there. No, stay here where it's safe. Don't explore. Don't take risks. Don't make decisions for yourself because I know better than you. I don't know how many of you have heard this, like, because I said so. But there wasn't the conversation where it was like, Dawn, what are you thinking? What are your thoughts? What are you processing? What do you want? What are you looking for? Let's figure this out together. So my input of my life, I had my gauges of trust. And trust is not instantaneous. Trust is earned. It is built over time. When I was born practically into ministry, I had my mom, her parents, my grandparents were missionaries. My dad was a PK, a pastor's kid. So spirituality, in a sense, I had a really good bit. Understanding of who Jesus was. Was in the church for a long time. Been in ministry basically my whole life, to an extent. Been in the medical career for 6 years. Been in the business world for 6 years. Creativity and music. I've traveled over 42 countries in the world. I've met and talked and had to make new friends with strangers with every color of ice cream you could think of. Every person has a desire to build trust and relationship and connection. So I definitely leveled up in others and relationships in that. I could be able to build trust with others pretty well. But when it came to myself, I still questioned, are my feelings validated? Are my desires and my needs a priority? I swept that under the rug a lot of times. I said, you know what? Relationships? Oh, collegiates, here we go. I had a soulmate. This guy I dated, he was not really a soulmate. I just liked the term that there was somebody who actually was talking to me. And he liked me, and he had conversations with me, and I felt so lovely. And I was so excited to become the person that he wanted me to be. In terms of personality, in terms of interests, in terms of fashion, in terms of thought process, in a lot of things. I was like, oh, I will totally be a moldable clay to whatever perfect lady you want. That sounds dangerous, and I was warned. But I was like, but he likes me. I put his needs and his wants before mine, because I had no idea what my authentic self was. And so that also, like, in the output on how I viewed life and how I interacted and responded with life, with people and situations. My responsibilities as a collegiate, I was like, oh, I'll take care of everything. I mean, like, you can go ahead and in the study groups, don't worry about it. I got you. That was our thesis, and I did, like, probably that much. And, like, maybe 4 other people did that much. And there are so many ways where we we can continue this conversation, because you can only imagine on how deep this topic goes and how vast it impacts our childhood, our relationships in school, our identity, our future, and how we view our past. I had a question of where my self-value was. Funny thing is that my favorite topic to tell people and to share with people is, you are valuable. I forgot to tell myself that, though. Are you with me so far? How many of you want to learn what it looks like, what I've learned, what it looks like to heal from being a negative people pleaser? How many of you would like to learn what I've just figured out? I don't know. I don't even know if I want to raise my hand. I'm just like, this is what we're going to do. There are 5 action principles that God has helped me understand to be able to take better care of myself mentally, physically, with my relationships. So friends, on this side, every section, there's 5 of them, and there are 5 action principles. And it's going to spell the word that is the foundation that needs to be rebuilt, which is trust. So Trust. All right, here we go. All right, friends, on this side, repeat after me. Train. All right, I'm going to be coming back to you a number of times. Train your tongue. Everybody on this side, even those in the back, hi. R. Recognize. Recognize patterns. Everybody here. You. Uncomfortable. Embrace the uncomfortable. Excellent. Here. S. Seek. Seek guidance. Excellent. And the last one over here. T. Time. Time is utilized. Excellent. One more time. Here we go. T. Train your tongue. R. Recognize patterns. U. Embrace the uncomfortable. S. Seek guidance. T. Time is utilized. These are the things, and we're going to apply this in how amazing God is. And these are principles I've learned. And they have been in play for the last thousands of years this earth has been around. They remove their fears. I want you to go with me to your Bibles. We're going to talk about a story about Jethro and Moses. Exodus 17. And don't quote me on that. Exodus 17. If it's 18, tell me. Jethro took Moses' family from where they were, and they were meeting Moses and the rest of the Hebrews that just came out of Egypt. And they were meeting them. And Jethro comes, and he creates this wonderful reunion for Moses and his family. And they were like, wonderful, it's good to see you. And they ate, and they had bread. And then, literally the next day, after this family reunion, Moses has a swarm of the Hebrews coming to his door, and they were talking about how their problems are this and that, and he was from taking care of all their situations, making their priorities, their needs and wants. He put it all on himself. This is what happened. Jethro looks at this. He sees the family of Moses just waiting for him. Like, are you gonna take care of work and not prioritize family? So Jethro he's the guy. He's the guy who has figured certain things out. Jethro, he had trained his tongue. He says, Moses, what is this you're doing? Like, why are you going from day to night taking care of every single person's needs? He trained his tongue to ask good questions, to seek to understand before being understood. He gave Moses an opportunity to reply back, and he said, these people, they just come to me, and I just have to take care of them all, and that's my responsibility, right? Jethro recognized patterns. Yeah, you're right. I've noticed that you're the only person amongst the millions of people that are coming to swarm on you. I see the pattern it's going to send your relationships off the deep end because you're not having balance. He recognized the pattern. He said, an uncomfortable conversation, and he embraced it. He's like, Moses, are you open to a conversation? He's like, yeah. What is it? What you are doing is not good. I have to check your ego, Moses. I have to check, are you just wanting to take care of everybody else because you feel like that's your only responsibility? Yeah. But is it your ego that's also saying this? It's like there's something off about your thought process here, Moses. And so he says, do this. He sought guidance. He sought guidance from Jethro. He said, okay, I'll listen to you. What do you got? I suggest that you seek leaders, you seek guidance, you seek people who are going to take care of the other people's problems, from the hundreds to the thousands to the hundreds to the tens. Let them figure it out, and then only you, when it funnels through, will take care of the most difficult problems and make your life more in balance. You take care of your needs also. And time was utilized. He figured out that he could be able to delegate. And I have sometimes a hard time to give control over to somebody to an extent. But over time, trust is built with the leaders, with the people who was next to him, and say, you know what, Moses? You are not alone. Trust needs to be rebuilt. And trusting the Lord with all of your heart is a process. My journey throughout life, and I've allowed God to say, hey, train my tongue to speak freedom, train my tongue to understand, train my tongue to speak good things in life over myself as well. Because if I put a recording of what I was saying to myself and I was going to play that back to a child, I would be questioning that recording. Train my tongue to speak freedom, to speak life and affirmations and encouragement. Also, not just to God, but also to myself and to other people. Because it's not love your neighbor more than yourself. It's love your neighbor as yourself. I need to be able to recognize patterns, and God has given me a mind to be able to discern well. I have to realize my patterns of my triggers, of my past, of my relationships, and where they go. Recognizing patterns of problems, of successes and progress. Track your progress. It's phenomenal. You embracing the uncomfortable is one of the best things that I had to figure out for myself, because that is only where growth is. You excel as fast as you stay out of your comfort zone. You excel as far as you step out of your comfort zone. Seeking guidance, people who are worthy. Trusting everyone as compared to trusting people who have worthy values. The first one, that's just foolish. The second actually has prudence and understanding. Seek people who have the lifestyle that you want, the relationships that you want. And if you're not, give yourself that opportunity to do such. And trust that in time, in the seasons that I have, I will be able to overcome fear. I will be able to overcome and be able to assess what is in my mind and my heart and my past and how I view things and how God defines things. I have to check my input, because that also filters throughout all of my relationships with loving the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, and soul, and your neighbor as yourself. And that kind of balance really comes into play. And it's phenomenal. I'm just telling you. I'm like, the rest of your life will be an instrument of, it will be a beacon of freedom for people who are saying, I don't like conflict. I don't like saying no because I feel guilty if I say, let's review and we'll come to a close. And I will have a call to action on this. Ask yourself the definition of everything that is involved in your life. What is your definition of who God is? Because if you see God as somebody who's looking over your shoulder, waiting for you to just make a mistake so that he can just squish you, I don't want to serve a God like that. Ask yourself if the definition of God is somebody who's actually trustworthy, because he truly is. And in all of the Bible, from Genesis to the end of the Old Testament, it is scenarios upon scenarios upon scenarios of God saying, just trust me. And it's phenomenal. Check your input of how you see relationships and who you are and whose you are and where you are going. Because it will also define on how much trust you're going to have with who you are and who you are going to be, who others are and who they could potentially be. And that will affect how you experience life. But you have to build trust. And that is part of the healing of the foundation of where everything comes from. Building trust and training your tongue, recognizing patterns, embracing the uncomfortable, seeking guidance, and utilizing time for your benefit. Everybody, this call to action is this. From where you're at, we have about 8 minutes. Janae, or Haz, and Mike, and I want every one of you, I want you to say at least one word, because your situation right now is not going to change instantly. But what you can do, you can make a choice to speak and have ownership of this moment, and to identify what you are putting inside your mind. Identify where you want to go, who you want to be. So what's going to happen right now, we're going to have this mic just be passed through just the entire aisle, and each of you, I want you to just say one word. Where do you want to build trust? Myself, God, or others? Let's start over there. Friend, where do you want to build trust? And then just quickly pass it down the line and all the way back. Go ahead.
God.
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 There you go, behind you, behind you.
Jesus.
God.
Self.
God.
Jesus.
God. God.
Others.
Mm-hmm.
Myself.
Yes.
God.
In our God.
Yes.
God. God.
God.
God. God.
Amen.
God.
God.
Continue on this conversation in the front. This is such a deep topic, and if you want to continue this conversation and be equipped even more so to be able to overcome that fear, to be able to have clarity about where you are going and who you are and whose you are, there will be a text. It's my friend and brother in Christ. His name is Carl. Text him your name and say, like, I want to continue this conversation. Go ahead. Right there. Yes. Who do you want to build trust with?
Others. God. God.
Myself.
God.
Myself.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
God. God.
Others.
God.
Faith.
God.
Myself.
Yes.
God. God.
Myself.
God. God. Myself.
God.
God.
Myself.
Yeah.
Others.
It's good.
Myself.
Yes.
Tennessee. Myself.
And we continue on because this is to ownership. This is taking trust and choosing to say, you know what? Your needs are a priority too. And He loves you very much so.
God.
Myself. Others.
Myself. Jesus.
Myself.
God.
Myself.
Myself.
Others. Others.
Others.
Others. Others.
God.
God.
Myself.
God.
Others.
Myself.
Trustworthy people.
All the above.
God. God.
Others.
And it's so powerful because you recognized, because you identified the problem. Now you are in a motion of saying, I can heal.
Myself. The Lord.
Where do you want to build trust?
Others.
God.
He wants to say something. I think this is so powerful that even in the mouth of babes, they have power as well. Who do you want to build trust with?
God. God.
God. Myself. God.
Others, myself, and the Lord.
God.
God.
God and the Holy Spirit.
God.
God. Faith.
In Jesus.
And God.
God.
Who do you want to build trust with?
Myself.
It's good.
Myself.
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 Myself. Myself.
Myself.
All the above.
Self.
Others.
Mine. Myself. Self.
And because of these things, we get to heal and we get to be able to reverse, reparent, even with therapy, be able to remove those fears and identify them and identify places that we want to be able to build and heal. And this is feeding my soul, truly.
My best friends.
Yeah.
Myself.
Everyone and myself.
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 Myself and my family.
Others.
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 All of the above.
Yeah.
God. My Savior.
In God's redemptive plan for all of us.
God.
The Holy Spirit.
All of the above.
God.
God. Myself.
God.
God.
God. Myself.
In others and myself.
Yeah. Last but not least.
All of the above.
All three.
Wow. In closing, I think we have done a good work here. God is so pleased to know that his friends and his loved ones are learning what it looks like, even more so, to be healed and to remove the fear, because we are not called to be fearful. We are called to be free. And I pray that all the aspects of your life and all the parts of your heart, your mind, and your soul, you entrust that to God. Try him. Please, just try him. Not just memorize that he is good. Not just memorize Bible verses or super quotes, but prove that he is good. Prove that he is trustworthy. I'd like for us to all close our eyes as we just come back to the Father and we pray. God, Father, you are trustworthy and there was no one like you. We believe, God, that you are for us and you are not against us, that you have a future that is full of trust and love and removal of the fear and the concern and the worry of what other people think. You have called us to not be fearful. You called to heal us from the deepest parts of ourselves. And that is an option. It's only up to us if we want to come and take it and be healed. It's up to us to be willing to be healed. And I pray that some parts of us, as we take ownership of one part of our life and say, God, I want to build trust here. I don't want to be afraid here. I know you will respect that. Thank you so much for just giving us this Sabbath and for this opportunities to continue a conversation and to be free. To be free from the negativity of being a people pleaser. Thank you so much for healing us. We thank you for your Sabbath. Thank you for giving us the spiritual food. And as we enter into Palak, we experience a wonderful aspect of real food. Thank you, Lord. In Jesus' name I thank you. Amen.